Hey everyone, welcome to the Linen Service Podcast. I'm Makai McDermott, your host, creator, historian, and founder of this amazing space for women who want more from their lives and careers. We're here for the hot girls. Today I'm joined with the queen of the hot girls, Brazy. So glad to have you here. I love the bangle jingle too.
Thank
it's like,
you.
yes, a bad bitch has arrived. Thank you. Brazy is a true artist, a multilingual creative. Your music speaks to so many genres and I think represents the new future of sound. How do you define Afrofuture, Afro-sexy? This is your thing.
Yeah, so Afrofuture, when people ask me, like, what kind of music do I make? I say Afrofuture, Afro-sexy, because I just feel like that's the perfect way to encapsulate the whole thing. But essentially, it's just me, an African, doing whatever I want on any beat. It's normally fast, upbeat, has Afro influences, but it also has influences from electronic beats, from techno, from French bouillon, from soca, from literally anything. So
that's crazy you said soca, because I was listening to OMG and it reminds me of a soca song, and I was like, shout out to Brazy being so diverse and nuanced.
I literally love music. I love music. I love listening to music. Any type of music, I will listen to it. And so I think it's fun that I get to do whatever I want on whatever I want. And then I call it Afrofuture, Afro-sexy, because why not?
Yeah, I love that. You have your own unique perspective on sound. And I think that's why you've been able to come out the gate just punching. Like your first song, crazy. Second, crazy. Every time you collaborate with someone, even in your earlier work that you did with Lola, I love that song. And also with Cruel Santino, that was before I knew you as an artist. I was thinking, who's this babe? Like, who is this? So you find a way to have your own sound, even when you're working with other artists. How do you do that? How do you say, okay, I'm going to make sure I'm always me in all of these different tracks?
Literally by doing that. Like, I set the intention that I'm going to be myself and I'm going to do what comes naturally to me. So regardless of what the beat sounds like. So I collaborated with artists such as Len, and he makes like quite rappy music. I mean, now he's doing more experimental stuff, but at the time it was like more underground UK rap, but still on that beat, I came as Brazy. I have a signature ad lib, which is the
Mwah.
And so regardless of any song I do, I'm going to put that in. So that's one signature. But at the same time, I'm going to have my unique flow, my unique bounce, and just do what comes naturally to me without trying to be too influenced by how the person usually sounds or how Brazy usually sounds or how the genre usually sounds.
I love that you speak about acknowledging the way that a genre is known, like the way people understand it, but then taking your own perspective and your own flavor and doing something different. How do you stay connected to your roots as an African artist whilst exploring these new musical territories, these new genres?
I think I'm very Nigerian. Let's just put it out there. I'm a very Nigerian babe. My family live in Nigeria. A lot of my friends are Nigerian. A lot of the things I enjoy are Nigerian. The food I enjoy is Nigerian. I love going to Nigeria. So I think for me, it's very easy for me to be tapped into my Nigerian roots. But in terms of like other African countries that I've been to and I've listened to their music. For example, I love Azonto music. Like, I love Azonto music. I love Ghanaian music. And so just listening to that over and over again, tapping into different cultures, listening to Fally Ipupa, for example, and just taking in these influences, I feel like it just sticks in me. And so when the time comes, it can just kind of shine. So it's mainly just absorbing the influences, absorbing the information, and then whenever it feels authentic to come out, it just comes out.
When you're making tracks and you speak in Mandarin or you speak Yoruba or you're speaking English, what do you have a process for choosing a language, or are you like, this will sound so good in Mandarin actually? Do you know what I mean?
I think, funnily enough, most of the time that I write in Mandarin is because I'm bored in the session. So maybe I'm bored with the beat, or I'm bored with how I sound in English, or the flow just sounds too similar, then I would just switch it to Mandarin because it is so left. And sometimes it doesn't even sound good at Mandarin, but the flow that I'm able to unlock in Mandarin, because it's such a different tonal language to English, I can then maybe put English words on that or just stick to the Mandarin. So for me, it's literally just about life's dynamic. Why don't we just try something fun? Because I can. And I think with things like, for example, Daddy is actually written in Mandarin. It's not English. I didn't say daddy at all. But then again, I wouldn't have thought to say daddy, 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 daddy in English. But in Mandarin, I was saying di daddy, 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 da. And that sounded nice. And then in English, it also sounds nice. So I think it's just trying new stuff and just saying, you can push yourself. Why not? Let's see how this sounds in another language.
I love that story of Daddy because I was listening to that and thinking like, is she saying Daddy?
Yeah.
And it's, for me as a listener, I can appreciate all kinds of music. I love like Kali Uchis. I don't know what she's talking about, but yes, bitch, I fuck with that.
Yeah.
And I love that with your music, I can feel the energy and the vibe and your intention. And that makes me able to connect with it beyond language. So I think it's so interesting now that we're seeing more artists like yourself who are engaging with music across borders. And I do think this is the future of music. This is the future of Afro beats. Like growing up, it was like Wizkid, Pakarumo, like those were like the iconic songs of my teens. And it's so nice to see this new wave of artists coming from Africa, coming from Nigeria that have, I suppose, a really global understanding of sound.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think as someone, so I grew up in Nigeria till I was about 11. Then I went to a boarding school in the UK, and then I went to uni in London, and I travel a lot. I think I learned like 5 languages when I was in school. I took Mandarin like the furthest, but when I was in school, I was always learning languages. I was always watching things and just absorbing so much information. And so for me, I feel like I'm a true, I don't know, like diaspora kind of babe. Like I'm a true international babe. I've taken in so much influences. When I was younger, I used to travel everywhere. And when I would go, I would take in the culture. I want to go and see all the historical things that's happening. I want to know, how do you say hello, welcome, thank you, can I have this, whatever. I want to be able to absorb as much as I can. And even before I was thinking about doing music or making music, that was something that was naturally interested in. So for me, I have so many influences from so many places. And before I started making music, I thought, this is random, but how fun. I know fun facts. I know a few things here and there. But now, as an artist, it is so relevant and it's so important for me to be able to connect with Africans that are all across the world. So I think it's fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that curiosity and desire to always search and look for more is what makes you such a great artist. If there are any like new artists that meet you and say like, Brazy, how do I do what you do? How do I get as good as you? What would be your best advice for them?
My first advice, and it's very cliche, but I think people say it over and over again because it actually is very important, is to just be yourself. Please. Don't try and be anyone else. I know you're coming to me to ask me for advice and you want to, I don't know, be like me or do what I do. But the best way for you to do that is by doing what you want to do. If it is that you do want to copy me and that's the most authentic thing you want to do, then yes, do that.
Yeah.
And if it's authentic, it will work. If it's not authentic, it's not going to work. Because I take influences from so many people and I do what they're doing, but do it better or put my own spin on it.
Yeah, do it your way.
Do it my own way. So I think really, really try and be yourself and stay true to what you want to do, who you are, and do it in your own style. And don't be afraid to change. If you try something and you're not really feeling it anymore, try something else. No one's going to beat you up.
So real.
Try something else.
Yeah, it's okay to fail at something and be like, oh, actually, I've got a learning from this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep it moving.
Yeah. And even if
else.
you don't fail at it, you just don't want to do it anymore. That's also fine.
True.
You can still move on. People are like, oh, I liked when you used to do this. Okay.
I don't want to do it no
really
more.
Cool. Yeah. And the thing is, what you liked was the how it felt natural, how it felt authentic, how it felt fun. If I'm doing something that I don't want to be doing, it's not going to feel like that. You like the feeling. To you, you see the end result. That's fine. But if I don't feel good, it's not going to sound good. I promise you.
That's so true. You mentioned before you did music. I've read a few of your interviews and I know you were a corporate girly.
Yes, I was a corporate girly.
It's so hard to imagine you in such a different environment. Why did you choose corporate and what made you leave?
So my friends call me Hannah Montana because I literally put on a blonde wig and I'm a totally different person compared to like my corporate self. So I studied engineering at uni. I've always been an academic babe. I've always been into, physics, maths, learning, languages. I've always just been like a smart babe. And so for me, I kind of thought, what is the hardest thing I could possibly do? After doing Mandarin A-level, for example, what's the hardest thing I could do is studying engineering at uni. Then what's the hardest thing I could do? I didn't even do engineering at corporate. I went to go and do finance. And I was like, okay, well, now I'm really, really doing something.
Somewhere.
Yeah. And I think for me, I love challenge. I love trying new things. I love seeing, okay, you can do something. How well can you really do it? So I was like, I'm good at maths. I have a problem solving mindset. Where can I apply this the best? Or where can I push myself to the limit? And so that was in corporate. And so I found myself, doing corporate. It wasn't even 9 to 5. It was like 6 to 8.
Oh,
it
my
was
God.
really messed up. But I was doing that alongside music, challenging myself, learning different things in a different environment. And then I just thought, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
It's no longer fun. And it's not an inspiring environment for me. And so I decided to then go and do music full time. And that's a whole different challenge. And yeah, for now, I think it's really fun and interesting.
It is so interesting and fun. Do you feel like you have a transferable skill?
From corporate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm very strict. And I'm very serious. I know I'm smiling and, it's cute and everything. But when it comes to like my music and my work and my business, I am very serious about it. I take things seriously. I take my music seriously. I will go to the studio in the morning, leave in the evening. I get things done, So I feel like that whole hustle mentality and just like getting things done in a structured way, in a way that is ordered, and in an industry that does not have any order, by the way. Music industry has no order. It has no rules. Everything is just scattered. But for me, I make my own rules. I make my own order. And that's how I'm able to get things done. So I think, it was hell, but I learned something, I guess.
I love that. I first came across you on socials, on TikTok and on Instagram, and you're really active on socials. You're one of the artists where you love your music, you live your music. I feel that your visual aesthetic also embodies your sound. How has social media helped you to shape your public persona?
I would say I'm happy that you said that, I'm active on social media. At the moment, I haven't been as active, but I'm getting back onto it now. But I feel like just having the platform to put myself out there in my most authentic way. So it's not like I don't follow any formula. I don't do something over and over again and that is working, I do it over and over again because it's working. I kind of just go out there. I'm like, if today I'm feeling this way, this is how I will appear. If I want to dance on TikTok, I'm going to dance on TikTok. If I want to talk on TikTok, I'll talk on TikTok. Just kind of doing whatever it is that I want. And I hope that my audience and my fans can engage with me and see, okay, this babe does whatever she wants. And it looks good. So I can do that.
Yeah, I love that. So it's also you being your truest self and hoping that you find an audience that resonates with that. Yeah, I love that. When you're maintaining this authenticity, do you feel like there's a challenge or there's something about it which is like, oh, this is hard. You have to push through a barrier?
I think showing up consistently is hard, especially on social media where it's like, okay, I'm asking my fans questions, for example, on my broadcast channel, and then they now reply me, I'm like, oh God, now I have to now reply back. And, just kind of like, it's actually hard to show up consistently, especially when sometimes I don't feel like, or you ask me a question that I don't feel like answering, but because I've asked you, why would I now not answer you back?
Yeah.
So things like, having to constantly push my music and dance. If I don't feel like dancing, still dancing. But again, I don't really do that. If I don't feel like doing something, I'm not going to do it. And so when I do feel like doing it, I'll do a lot of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I like that you touched on listening to your body, listening to what you want. And I find that when I speak to a lot of artists in whatever medium they work in, they all have a very intrinsic knowing of, okay, I don't want to do this, or this doesn't feel right to me anymore. How important is having that and listening to that voice in your artistry?
I think it is very, very important. However, that voice can be distracting if you don't have a plan. So you need to know exactly what you're doing, and it's more importantly why you're doing it. And if you don't know that, that voice can just take you like this instead of taking you forward. It's just because you're human. Some days you feel bad, some days you feel good, some days you have energy, some days you don't have energy. So listening to that voice is great, but you need to be able to also guide that voice. At the end of the day, it's your own voice, but you need to know where you're going, why you're doing something, because sometimes that voice is going to tell you things that aren't so great and don't sound so good. But if it doesn't align with your final plan, you can say, yeah, this voice is right. But if it does, you can tell the voice to fuck off, that you have other things, and create a new voice that's going to tell you, girl, do
that's
that.
so true.
So I think the voice is cool and it's important. By the end of the day, you are the one creating the voice. It's yours, and so you need to know where you're going and why you're going there for it to actually be beneficial, I think.
In finding your sound and understanding, like, follow the plan and not how you feel, I think both of those things are actually really related because, well, I don't make music, but as a listener, for me, it feels like an artist creates one sound and then they look at the reception of the sound, and then they also think about how much they like what they've made, and then their subsequent work is like similar or very different. And I think for you, you've had actually quite a thematically consistent sound. Did you know from your first song, like, this is the sound I'm going to make and I'm going to stick to? Or was it like after hearing really good reception, really good plays, because you've got almost 500,000 listeners on Spotify. So shout out to the girls. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so did you always know, like, this is the sound I'm going to make? Or was it like, oh, this is kind of good, actually, I'm going to roll with it?
I think it's a combination of both of them. Creating music in the first place was as a result of people like my sound or they like my voice. So it's the same thing I was saying of, it seems I'm good at this. How good can I really be? So that extra push comes from me. But the initial idea of being an artist, making music came from outside of me. As I said before, I was an engineer. I was a corporate babe. Music was never, I like music. I like dancing. I like listening to music, but I never thought I would make it. It was a response to other people saying, I think you'd be good at this thing, or you've done a little bit. It sounds sick. Do more. Then I then took it to the next level. So I think it's a combination of both. And when it came to like my Afro sexy, Afro future sound, I think that was me saying people like to dance in the club. I like to dance in the club. My friends like to dance in the club. I had songs that were like hot girl rap songs, and then I had my club bangers, and I liked the club bangers better. And so I thought, let me take this to the next level and let's see how many club bangers I can make. And as I made more and more, I thought, this is one, fun to make, two, easy to make, and people seem to like it. And so then I was combining the other hardcore rap stuff with different things, and then using the reception I get from people to then explore other things. So I think it's not just I do what I want at all times, fuck everyone. Is I take what they have to say and then I explore it in my own way and take it to the next level by myself. And obviously it's for them, so if they like it, that's great.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a favorite song which you feel like really embodies that attitude?
I feel like all my songs embody that attitude.
True.
To be honest, I'm very, very intentional about what I say on songs in like intentional or not intentional. Like I like to say things that are positive on songs. I like to say things that are like manifesting good things and empowering and things that people would actually want to repeat because I don't repeat lyrics that I don't want in my life.
Yes.
I'm very big on manifestation. Like I'm not going to sing some lyric about how my life is a misery. I'm just not going to. No matter how good the song is.
No, you're so real for that.
I'll vibe, but I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. So, yeah, I think... I forgot the question.
Oh, it's okay. Like, do you have like a favorite then? Just like a personal favorite, which is like, I really love this one.
There's actually a favorite song I have of mine that I don't think it was taken in. This was before Atom, which was kind of like my breakthrough song. It's a song called First Place. I'm definitely going to re-release it because I think people need to take it in properly.
Please re-release.
Yeah, yes. But the song goes... First place right in the middle, coming in hot. This is big, no be little. And I feel like the whole song just embodies that vibe. It's very confident. It's very just like, you are that girl. Nobody can tell you anything.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, please re-release. We need it for the summer.
I will.
Do you know what I
will.
Yes. How do you navigate then with your art and all of these complexities that you're bringing into one sound? How do you navigate that, which seems like a big responsibility, actually, with what your audience wants to hear from you?
I listen to my audience, and I feel like I have a good audience in the sense that they usually like whatever I give them, but I think because they can see that I like it. So if I'm always dancing to it, I'm always smiling, I'm on live in the studio, I'm vibing with the producer, they're like, this is a vibe. Like they like the energy. It's contagious. So I think it's easy for me. I don't think I've put out something that they're just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So far. So I think it's easy for me right now. But in the case where maybe I put out something that doesn't really align with my listeners, I think I would take the feedback. But if I like it and some people like it, I think that's enough for me. If it feels good, that's important to me. I wouldn't make something that doesn't feel good to me just because somebody else likes it. True. I don't think that makes any sense.
True. I agree. We've spoke a little bit about your collaborations. You made music with your friends. I assume also when you collaborate that you like the artist's work, obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be on the track. How do you approach all of your collaborations to make sure they align with your artistic vision?
I like to be in the studio with the artist. And I like for us to actually vibe. Like we'll spend like a good amount of time just vibing, chatting, dancing, we picking the beat together, writing the song together. And if we can't do that, I have to actually like your music. I have to actually like the song, like your personality, see that you are doing something that's authentic to you. And if I listen to the song and I'm like, yeah, this sounds sick, I believe what you're saying on the song. Like I'm listening to it, I'm like, and I'm moving, I'm vibing. Then I think, yeah, I would do it.
One of my favorite collaborations of yours is with Kelela on the Closure remix. That was my number one song of 2024 on Spotify, actually.
Shout out you.
How did that collaboration come about?
So she literally just messaged me on Instagram. She messaged me on Instagram and she was like, I love your sound. I love your songs. I have this song that I would love you to be on. She actually sent me a couple of songs and allowed me to pick. And so I listened to them. They were all sick, by the way. But the one that spoke to me the most was Closure. And I think, again, it was a challenge because on the beat, the speed actually changes. And I was like, I have never heard anything like this before. And Afro feature, I have to do the thing that is brand new, I've never heard, is bloody difficult. And so, yeah. And I love Bambi as well.
Yeah.
And I thought the verse from the other artist was really, really cool. So I thought I love this song. I will listen to it. And so I did it, and it was sick.
Yeah, so sick. Yeah. Do all of your collaborations come about that way, like just a DM or a message, or some of them more like formal, like your team to their team, etc.?
I don't actually have any song that features another artist. So it's never really been my team to their team. It's either they message me, or sometimes they message my team, or we're just like, I actually know them, and then we go to the studio together. But most of the time, even if it starts off formal, when we get to the studio, it has to, if it's not a vibe, I will just sit there and be like, oh, sorry, I have nothing to say. I'll be like, oh, sorry, really tired today. The thing is, for me, it has to be authentic. And me saying I have nothing to say is not even going to be a lie. I would generally have nothing to
nothing to add.
I have nothing to add. I'd be like, you know what? This song is great. Just you.
Yeah.
Or it could have somebody else on it, but I don't feel like it's natural for me to be on it.
Yeah.
And so again, like, it needs to flow. There's most times when I collaborate with people, it is so easy for me to write. Like, I hear their verse or I hear the beat and immediately I have an idea and I can write it. If I can write it in 10 minutes or less, it's not going to work.
Wow. 10 minutes is crazy, by the way.
It's because my lyrics are actually very simple and I believe them. So they're things that exist in my head. So like me manifesting, saying things like, do you know what I deserve? I deserve the finest. And so things like that. It's not, it's not Shakespeare. I'm not thinking
it's
deeply.
Shakespeare. It's modern day Shakespeare.
It's just, this is what I think.
Yeah.
And this is how I feel right now. And so it's easy for me to say it. If I was pretending or coming up with something that wasn't real, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, that's so true. This to me means you are quite vulnerable because you're very authentic. You're yourself. What you say is what you believe. How do you balance this vulnerability that comes with making art with having a public persona?
I would say being yourself is difficult, and especially because I am actually myself. Like, when you meet me in person versus what you see, to be honest, I don't speak that much online. So you just see like, a pretty girl dancing, vibing, whatever. And so you probably have assumptions about me. But when you meet me, you're like, okay, you kind of can compartmentalize that, oh, she looks like a pretty girl that maybe isn't so nice or has a bad attitude or whatever. But you can also kind of see like, oh yeah, she smiles. That smile is real. That smile online, I can see it in real life. And so that part for me is great. But when it comes to things that are negative or people saying, oh, why does she do this? Or why does she say this like this? Or why is her song sounding this way? That can be difficult because it's real. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's a real insult because you're insulting my real person. Yeah. You're not insulting someone that you created up or my alter ego. Like, damn.
Yeah, I hear that. I resonate with that as well. Sometimes it's like when you're being yourself, you're taking a risk as well in exposing, like, this is what I really believe. This is what resonates with me. Yeah. So yeah, I really feel that. I think it's funny that you say that sometimes people might get mean, like you may be a mean girl. Because I feel like online, you seem like a great vibe. Like
That's what I think.
I've never got a single bad vibe from you.
But the thing is, sometimes people just like to make things up.
True. Sometimes it's a projection of how they feel.
Sometimes it's a projection. Or like, the thing is, when I have like, my blonde hair on, I'm smiling, wearing pink, it could be, but sometimes I look dark and mysterious. I have like, jet black, bust down, I've put black underneath my eye, I'm doing like this, Those times it can be like, this girl looks like she will slap me up, which is fair. That was the vibe I was going for. But once I smile, everything is just purpose. Like, whatever, girl.
Yeah. I had that too with my shaved brows. Everyone was like, girl, are you good? Like,
you good?
It was a creative choice. Yeah. Actually.
People always say that they love my bleached brows look. And I'm like, oh,
this is just my eyebrows.
Just my eyebrows. I don't know if that's good or bad.
It suits you. It's great when you have a natural feature that works in harmony with the rest of your face, Yeah. When you're cultivating this brand, And this is also advice for any artist listening. How are you cultivating this brand that feels really bold, really true, really just fab and true to who you are?
I feel like I'm going to sound like a broken record, but you can't create something that says you're true to who you are without being true to who you are.
Yeah.
That's just not really going to work. So I think, yeah, try and explore who you are and evaluate that every day. When you wake up, think about, how am I feeling today? Dress how you feel. Show up how you feel. Don't think about it too much. Don't try and plan how you're going to look every time. It doesn't have to be consistent. I used to wear colored braids for a long time, and I used to love changing my color of my braids. And one day I was like, bored of this. I want to do something else. And I started wearing black wigs, for example. And that was a whole thing. And then I was like, tired of the black, let's wear blonde. And then that was a whole thing. But people try and box me into that blonde. I'm like, no, I want to wear ginger today, or I want to do this today. So kind of just do whatever feels right to you. And I promise you, it will radiate. It's not, even if you don't think it's going to be what people want to see or what people want to hear or what they're used to, if you are authentic, that is your vibe. Well, that's what I believe. People that I like online, I like their vibe. I like their energy. They can look like, for example, Uncle Waffles. I think her energy is sick. Yeah. And she looks different every single time. There's not one consistent look that she has.
Yeah. She's
but
just
that
herself.
energy is the same every time. And that's because she's actually herself. So if you pretend, it's just not going to work. And if you have been pretending, today, you can change your life. Today is the day that you will stop pretending and your light will start to shine. Okay, and we will accept you like that. And if tomorrow you have a different vibe, fine. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that's so real.
Yeah.
That's so really true. You spoke about a lot of what you do is on manifesting. You have these great lyrics. And I think you're also telling women who listen to your music, choose yourself, respect yourself, back yourself. You're that girl and you can do anything you set your mind to. That message, I think, has fostered you such a unique community of hot girls that really love you. They follow you around. You've performed a lot this year. You performed in Lagos. How was that experience?
It was amazing. Yeah. I love performing in Lagos. That's like one of my favorites to perform. I love performing in Lagos. It's really cool seeing people that are just like me, you know, same background as me, or like they look like me, they're from the same place as me, and they enjoy the same things as me. I think it's really cool to kind of be around people like that. But then again, Lagos is home. And I think as a hot Lagos girl, it's easy to resonate with these things. As a Nigerian babe, you're literally brought up with the message that you are that bitch. Like, your mom is going to tell you every single day. And so, you want to do something? Why can't you?
Yeah.
There's no, like, nobody really is doubting you. You only kind of doubt yourself. As a Nigerian babe, nobody tells you can't do anything. I mean, obviously there's like political stuff, but in terms of like being that bitch, you are. You know, but I think performing in places like China, for example, where I just would not have expected people to even know who I am, or even care. I think that was really, really cool and really eye-opening to be like, okay, so your message is traveling.
Yeah, because when you announced it, I was like, wow, this is perfect. Was it it wasn't your first visit, but was it your first time performing?
Yeah, it's my first time performing. So my first visit, I just enrolled myself in a school and just went there. But it's my first time actually performing, and I did like a little mini tour, and it was like greater than I could ever have even imagined. It was really, really cool seeing people who just love life, love music, are curious, are interested in the fact that it was interesting to see the kind of songs that they liked, because...
What songs did they like? I'm so intrigued.
So in terms of my songs, the ones that they liked and knew all the lyrics to, when I perform in London, people would just kind of be like, yeah, this is cool, but who cares? You know, so things like, there was a song that's unreleased called Pangyo that has a Chinese nursery rhyme in it.
Okay.
And so
when is it releasing, first of all?
It's ASAP.
Okay.
ASAP.
Okay.
And so they were like obsessed with that. But for them, it was mind blowing because the beat, I collaborated with a Nigerian DJ who makes a genre called Mara. And it's kind of like really fast paced dancing music. They call it trenches music, but it's still kind of like very.
Like Rema? Rema's
Not
music?
like Rema. Like, do you know DJ YK Mule?
Okay, no, but
yeah,
we
so
will now
like,
go and listen.
Yeah,
guys.
it's like they call it trenches music, but this DJ is called DJ Khalifa, and he makes what you call emotional Mara, which is, anyways, going into like technicalities, but it's like very different from what Chinese people listen to, very different from typical hip hop, or even if very different to Rema, for example. And so they were hearing their childhood song on this beat and I could literally see their minds like blowing, and they were like, wow, like I've heard this is music.
Yeah, this is real music.
This is music. And that was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I love that. Do you think you'll be back performing in China again?
Definitely.
I love that. Are there any cities which are bucket list, got to get Brazy out there?
I really want to perform in Ghana. I haven't performed in Ghana. I think that would be sick. And also I want to perform in America more. I want to do New York and Canada. I think Canada would probably be my best show I would ever do.
Yeah.
So I really want to do that.
I think there are a lot of people now doing stuff in Canada. Recess, AAA, there are a lot of people having things. And I think it's a really great hub for cultural music. So yeah, that would be amazing.
Especially because I feel like my music resonates with diaspora.
Yeah.
And I think Canada is filled with people from different countries, different backgrounds, and they seem very open-minded, which is great for Brazy sounds.
Yeah, so true. You're so deeply rooted in self-expression. Literally, you came in the studio and I was like, wow, you look amazing. I love that you carry this light and energy around you and what you do. How do you recharge creatively when the industry's feeling overwhelming, or when you're like, you know what, right now I have nothing to say, as you said earlier? What do you do to recharge?
If I have nothing to say, I don't say anything. I don't force myself to say anything. I don't force myself to show up in places that I don't feel I'm going to be myself in. If I need a break, I will take a break. And I will do other things. And I think it's really important being able to do other things and having other things that you like, even if it's something like watching TV or listening to podcasts and not music, or going to the gym or doing whatever. I love to cook. And every single day, without fail, I will cook. And I wouldn't even just cook like a light thing.
I was just about to say, what are you cooking 5 days a week?
I will cook some correct Nigerian food that takes me hours to cook, but just being there in the kitchen in silence, cooking this stuff brings me, like, it grounds me, and it makes me just feel like, okay, you know what? I have other things that I'm doing. I'm interested in other things. I can take a break and I can use my talents in other areas. Even if I want to like sit down and I don't know, when I was in corporate, it was easier to kind of just like switch on and off, but just go out with my friends or meet my family, or I don't know, tap into a different language or learn something. Literally just do something else, and don't be too engulfed in the one thing that's making you stressed, because you won't do it well. And I am really big on doing something and doing it well. I'm a hard worker. I push myself, you know, I you know, challenge myself. I have a schedule. I stick to it, all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, I do all of that. So on the days where I don't want to do anything, I can afford to do that. Days where I want to do something else, I can afford to do that. So I think if you need a break, take one, please. Please. Something that's so creative, so vulnerable. You really need to feel like your best self.
Yeah.
For you to do, unless that's your brand. If your brand is making music that requires you to be emotionally downcast, by all means, but mine does not.
Yeah.
If I'm not feeling good, feeling funky, feeling fresh, I cannot make club bangers. It's impossible.
That's so true. That is so real. For emerging artists in this new genre, your genre, Afrofuture, Afro sexy, which there will definitely be more. what would you share with them? What is like, this is the thing you should know before you embark on this Afrofuture journey?
You need to have a community. You need to really respect people that respect your art. Be around people that like you.
Yeah.
People that like your
Sounds so
music.
simple, but
yeah. It's really important that like you, like your music, believe in you, be it family, friends, fans, show up, perform in places, do things that you feel like maybe you might not want to do, challenge yourself. Like you really need to push yourself. And you can't push yourself and do hard things if people around you are not going to support you. Because it's not every day you can pick yourself up and do everything by yourself. It's not possible. You need to be able to be around people that love you and care about you. They might not be like the top music exec. It's fine if your manager is your mum or your brother or your friend or whatever, someone that actually cares about you. That is probably even better. You need to be around people that actually care about you, that love you, so that you can love yourself and do what you want authentically. So I think have a good community, be authentic to yourself, and show up and do things, a lot of things, because you need to be able to learn faster than maybe you normally would have imagined that you would.
That makes sense. And in your process of finding your community, in your music, like finding your manager, your agent, how did that process go for you? Was it like an happy accident, or you were intentional, like, I want this person, and then you set out to work with them?
A combination of both. I think I haven't said, okay, I want this person and gone like a specific person and found them. But in terms of, I want the person to be like this, to have these kind of traits. And then in the happy accident, I will then be like, okay, do they have that? Do they like my music? Do they believe in me? Can they do this? Then I marry the two together.
So it's about being intentional as a new artist about what it is you want and what you desire. But also welcoming a creative process in doing it. Like, it doesn't have to be just like following a certain way of doing things.
Yeah, I think knowing what you want is the most important thing. Knowing what you want and why you want it is going to help you and make your life so much easier, because life is so dynamic.
Yeah.
You will be shocked at the kind of things that you never thought were going to happen.
True.
You'll be surprised by, like, you can't, for example, if you say, I want my manager to be this Sarah that I saw on Instagram, and you go and find her and you get the Sarah, and I don't know, maybe Sarah gets pregnant with triplets and she cannot be a manager anymore. What are you going to do? True. But instead of saying, I want Sarah and I must have Sarah, you say, I want someone who is responsible, who can come with me to shows, who can show up, who is a bad bitch like me. And if Sarah has triplets, you can go and find someone else that also has those traits. You need to know, what you're doing, why you're doing it, so that your journey can be easy, and you can know it's easy for you to say. It's like what's that thing, that tree diagram where it's like, do they have this? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And because life is going to take you on a ride and you cannot control that. But what you can control is what you want and why you want it. And then it makes everything easy.
True. And in doing so, and in finding your people, there's also an element of protecting yourself, protecting your energy, protecting your craft. How did you learn to do that in places that might not understand you, or with people that may not always get you and get your vision?
First, knowing that most people will not get you because they're not you. Most people will not get you. Most people will not get your vision, and that's fine. You can't force someone to understand you. You can't force someone to understand your vision. As long as you understand it and you know what you're doing, that's the most important thing. So I think being in an area where maybe you feel like you're the only one who knows what's going on, or you're the only one that knows yourself or understands, you don't need to be there, because it's very unlikely. I mean, I'm a mathematician. It's very unlikely that everyone is going to know what you're doing, especially if you're doing something new and fresh and kind of like, do I like this? Do I not like this? It's like, what are the chances you're going to be in a room where everybody loves it?
Yeah.
That's very, very, very unlikely. So I think knowing that in the first place, knowing that it's not personal. One day they might like it. They might never like it. As long as you like it, it's fine. essentially.
That's such a great perspective. Because I think a lot of people make something new and they expect it to be received well immediately, or why doesn't everyone like my thing? And that is really disheartening for them. So I love that you say, well, statistically, there will always be people who don't like what you do. That can't be your meter. Yeah, that can't be the thing you focus on if you're going to make something, or you feel something resonates with you so much that you're like, I have to get this out to the world. So I think that's really great advice for new artists, and in any format, whether you're doing music, you're a painter, anything. What legacy do you want to leave in your music? Not saying when you pass away, you get in touch with, like, not for now, but what do you want to be the legacy of Brazy?
I want Brazy to be someone that tried something new, kept on trying new things, kept on innovating, kept on being herself, being authentic, being confident, putting out a good message to people, and for that message to actually stick. I want Brazy to be someone that inspires people to try new things and do new things, and to kind of be, a little bit different, or to be themselves and actually truly believe in themselves. I think I don't have a specific thing. My thing is just to inspire a feeling in people and kind of show them that that light you have inside of you, shine it. Because most people, they're hiding that light they have in them. And you might not be around people that like you right now, but if you shine your light, people that like you, they will see it. So there's no point hiding it and not being yourself. Just be yourself, do new things, explore, travel. You'll find new people. New people will find you. I think my legacy, I want to just be inspiring people to be confident, to be themselves, and to believe in themselves. As cliche as it sounds, unfortunately for me.
Not cliche at all. Not cliche at all. Thank you so much, Brazy.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me. This was such a beautiful conversation. Your energy has been so great for the space. I feel like everyone is now smiling and set. It's just too fab. If this resonated with you, make sure to share it with your friends, share it with your girlfriends, your boyfriends, everyone. And again, thanks for tuning in to the Linen Service podcast. This is the space for all the girls who want more from everything. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Mwah.